I just made this video and I left the radio on it. Screwed the whole thing up. All right, this is a video about, it's a technical video, so if you're not interested in VBA, you probably don't want to do this. This is a video, but it will be in generic macros. You might want to see that. It is a video about coloring cells and coloring cells that go somewhere else. So this cell here, this is just a regular input cell. This cell, this go go went to this cell. Okay, and I'm gonna maybe rename this thing finding coloring transferred and dependence. I can't do that. DP. Okay, this went somewhere else. That was D4. This cell here also went somewhere else, and that was actually, that didn't go. This D8 went somewhere else, and I don't know where this 400 went. Somewhere. I think I know where it went. I think in this sheet. I put this 400. This came from this page. Okay, so it was transferred out. I'm going to take these ones away. Okay, and I'm going to even take these ones away. So they're not transferred out. Now, I also went to this other sheet. No, this one, transferred sheet. And these cells came from here. It came from here. This one didn't, but these did. Okay, and I'm going to take this away so these don't get transferred anymore. Now these cells went to this new sheet. They came, so they were transferred out. But I just, this new sheet, I just stopped them here. So now my friend Pascal was saying, I got to do this. I want to show which cells were transferred out. I don't quite know why he wanted to do this. And he was going to be the co-orator on this video. I was going to try to make it with him. He's a really smart guy who's done all this stuff at investment banks and JP Morgan and everything else. But I was really afraid if I had him doing, he would start railing and start swearing and start using really inappropriate language about lawyers. And maybe it's good that I'm just talking about him. Okay. Then, so now if I click this thing called find transfers again, now I'm going to put this in the generic macros. And what it does is it just finds all this stuff. And I don't know what happened to this. So it's finding, and then we stopped here because I didn't copy it all the way, I think. Okay. And then it goes back. This 440, where did this go? If I want to put Alt MD, there are no dependents on this one. Okay. So I must have, when I went to this sheet, this came from this one, but it didn't come from this one. Okay. So it found this. God knows I wanted to ask him why he's so obsessed about this. Now, if I wanted to put it in now I'm going to show you the code for it. For me, that's a little more interesting. If I put a little sheet that finds RGB. So let me see, I put some green ones. The yellow one was 3, so I just made a little choose function here to find the RGB. And if you go to this little thing, it'll give you RGB, red, green, blue. Okay, and if you put a number 2 here, oops, did that change? Oh, maybe sorry, that's really bad. I needed a spinner box or something. I'm gonna put, oops, let's put 3. Okay, and that was really bad. Why did I put this here? Shit. Okay, and then, did I just swear? Uh-oh. So now if I do this same thing again, it'll just, I hope it'll put it in a different color. Good. Okay, that's that. All right, now I'm going to show you how we do that. Now the way we do this, I made a couple of videos ago. I made a thing called finding the cells with no dependence at all. And this one, if I press Alt M D, there are no dependents here. This is Alt M D. I have to be faster at that. Then we find some dependents. Now, there are a couple of these have no dependents, I think. Alt M D, that has no dependents. So we want to find cells with no dependence. Oh, that worked a lot faster, didn't it? Huh, interesting. The reason, why did that work so much faster? Well, I'll show you, I think I'll show you why. Oh, that just freaked me out a little bit. Okay. The reason that worked like this, and again, let's just show you what we mean here. So if I, let's put, hello, Carmen. Carmen is good. He questions me about all my crazy, whacked out theories. Let's just find the no dependence again. This time I put a dependent there so it didn't go. That might be useful because that you want in your input sheets to find this. Okay, and okay, enough of that. So let me show you how it works. And then after I show you how it works, I'm going to show you how I'm going to implement this into the generic macros file and where I'm going to put it and all of that. And I don't know if you'll still be with me when I go through. So I'm going to look at this, review this VBA code just for a minute. And perhaps I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to have the spreadsheet open while I do this. Okay, now the trick with finding the no dependence is you want to look in all sheets. And the only way to look in all sheets is get those little arrows. And I've already made a video about this. Sorry about being repetitive. I took a computer programming class in 1976 or 1977. I can't. That's the only time I took it. My programming is not fancy. When I see these things for each shape in active sheet shapes, other of you knew how to do this so well, I just had to copy it. This finds all these shapes, 1, 2, 3 shapes. Okay, I don't usually do things like that. I'm much more crude. And then I start with a little counter called shape number. It just adds the shapes and it'll find that there's 3 shapes. Now the reason I do this is then I'm going to go around cell by cell by cell by cell. And every time I go around it, the very first thing I'm going to do, or the second thing, I'm going to clear all the arrows. Get rid of those. If I'm starting with 3 shapes and I find new arrows, I'm going to count how many arrows there are. If there are more than 3, then it's got a dependent. If there are only 3, no dependent. Now the next thing I do, so I go around very crudely from the start column to the end column, and that's all this stuff. These are just range names. And I've, of course, just press Shift Control F3 to do that, okay? And then if we get a cell that has a formula, I just want to do this for the inputs. Maybe that's why it worked so much more quickly. Then if it's a text, I don't want to do this for text, so we go around, finish the loop. If we have a error, I don't want to do that. I only want a number. So if it's not a number for some reason, if I didn't catch it with the others, then we're going to clear it out so it doesn't take so long. Okay, and then I go to the then I use this thing called show dependence, and that shows the number of arrows. And then with that dependence, it allows me to count them. It allows me to count all the shapes in the sheet. Shapes in the sheet. I got that right. Okay, and then I put this little slow and fast, because if I want to slow it down, this is another range name. I put true, and then if I want to find the dependence here, I can see the arrows. The last time I was going so fast, I couldn't even see the arrows. Okay, that's a lot slower. Maybe I just went too slow. Okay, so and in order to do that, you just put a little thing and put an if statement. I put application wait. Now, of course, I found out by searching on Google. And then I say, okay, if the number of shapes is the same as what we started up here, that one, and I'm repeating myself, I know, but we're going to use this again for the transferred variables. Then we get out of the whole thing. And I go, so, oh, then, no, I'm wrong. Then go to no dependence. Then we found a cell with no dependence. Otherwise, we clear things out and go. And when I got down here, then I put RGB and I put these range, red, green, blue. And the reason I'm showing that is I'm starting to implement that into the generic macros instead of putting these weird little numbers all the time like I used to. Okay, and now, so now I'm going to do the same thing. But this finds how many, I call this transfer color because I'm going to transfer it out and find out all the number of cells that were transferred out of this. First thing, this clear sheet just clears everything out to start with. When I put this into the generic macros, that won't be there anymore. And then we can clear all the arrows. We can do all this shape number business, go around the cells. This time I put a little thing to show the row number, and it kind of didn't work just now, okay? Then I go down and I put, I was just thinking, I wonder if I put uh, uh, display the display, not the display alerts, but the other one. I can't even think of that. Show the stuff. If I'm going to come back to that, I'm blabbering. This time I have to change these little tests. I have to work through each formula because the other one I just wanted to find an input up here. I just wanted to find an input. This time I want to, if it's got a formula, I want to, of course, use that formula because we're going to test which formulas go to another sheet. Okay, and the first thing I do is all that show dependence business, and I find out how many up here I put dependents from all the sheets. I named that. This is how many dependents we have from all the sheets. Now the next thing I can do, this is the new part, is there's another thing that says direct dependence. And I was going nuts with this because I thought this was the key to finding the no dependent cells, but I was totally and completely wrong. Because this direct dependence thing, that only works in this sheet. But that's lucky because now we can test how many total dependents are and how many dependents are there on this sheet. Now, if there are more dependents with the shapes, then there just are dependents on this sheet. That difference will be greater than 0, and that means there are dependents that go out. That's how I did it. So you can get this thing if you put direct dependence dot count, it counts the dependents in this sheet, and then the difference is how many there are. And if it's greater than 0, let's go ahead and name the cells, and then we finished. And if there was no dependent at all, I think I skipped around, or maybe I didn't even do that. And then that's it. That's it. Okay. And then just 1 second. Screen updating. Shit. That's what I was looking for. Screen updating. Maybe if I put. I'm not sure. This is a little bit. Now it's really slow. I'm almost. This is too slow. I've got to break it. I'm going to put a debug in. And then I'm going to go up and say application dot screen updating. God, couldn't remember that. I'm really losing it. Whatever. Maybe just too much of this stuff. Let's close this one. I better save the file. I've lost this file before. I did the whole thing and then I lost it. And I'm going to put false. And we'll just do one more little thing where we find all the transfers. Okay. Aha! That went pretty much faster. Oh, that's good news. And again, let's just test it out to make sure I didn't screw anything up. And let's take some of these things away. And this time you see, but it didn't. Hang on, let's just make sure it works. Ah, it did. And why? I think I took. I hope I took the things. Yeah, I took those out of here. And remember, if we put this transferred sheet, let's just put this back and let's take some of these. Let's just take some of those going forward. So we transferred those variables out. I'm just repeating what we're doing. Aha, thank you. Okay, now the next thing as I did is I went to the generic macros. And in the generic macros, I'm showing you all my big secrets, who cares? This up at the top, we have different place, and I'm going to put this transferred colors. I'm just going to move this into the generic macros. And then when I run generic macros, it's not running yet. If I press Control Alt C, oops. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I don't know. Now, the only reason you have to implement this generic macros is if your person doesn't allow you an open, your who IT person. If you're allowed to use auto open, just take that AAO auto open out, and then it'll just, you don't have to press the thing again. And then now I just added something. I said mark links to other sheets. And basically there'll be a subroutine in this generic macros. When you click on this, this is mark links from other sheets. And this is to other sheets. I don't know how to emphasize the difference, okay? And then when you do this, now that you've kind of seen the program, really, if you're going to use this generic macros, go to the sheet that has these default values. And for the find dependence, I don't know why this -1 is there right now, but I put the RGB. This is RGB for the font, so the font will be black. And this is the various colors. Did I put a little thing? I put some of the color picker stuff there. And then I haven't done it yet, but there'll be another one. This is for the sum colors. This is options to links to other sheets. Maybe I'll put it over here. Links from other sheets. Okay, so you will be able to pick your links from other sheets. And perhaps Pascal isn't here, option for links. This is wrong. Links from, this should be, from like this. And this is links to other sheets. Okay, so when you get a little more advanced, and maybe I better move these are the options for this Shift Control R business. Okay, and I think I'll stop the video. Hopefully I didn't screw it up this time.